Good morning, dragon folk. Welcome on in. So today, as I'm sure you saw by the title of the video, I genuinely wanted to talk about Magic the Gathering and its showcase cards, or I guess really any alternate art cards that exist. I know a lot of there's been some stuff where, like, Magic the Gathering has definitely put out a lot of different variants of cards. And I know there's a lot of stuff. I guess we'll just get right into it, right? By the way, if you guys also like showcase cards or any of the alt arts or borderless or anything like that, please like the video and subscribe to the channel too. We are almost to 100 subscribers, and I'll dye my hair a different color, crazy color. So we'll see about that. But anyway, today we're going to talk about showcase cards. So I know there are a lot of people who like the showcase cards and a lot of people who don't like the showcase cards, mainly because back in the day it was very basic, right? You got your card, right? And if it came foil, you were happy about it. But other than that, you didn't really need to worry about much of anything. Not to mention that some of the older cards also didn't come in foil at all. And there also weren't any mythics. So a lot of the old, like, reserve list stuff, like, that is all its own specific thing. But I do know that it's something that I've genuinely just enjoyed. Something I've enjoyed with Magic the Gathering, and honestly most of the TCGs that I've played in my day have all been because of the art. I like how they play, to be entirely honest. For the first and foremost, I like how they play, and then I like the second thing I think about is the art and how cool they are, and then I also get the collectability side of all of it, right? So I think at the end of it, there's a lot of talk about whether or not this is a problem, right? Now, like I said, back in the day, you pretty much just got the card, right? And if it came in foil, it was good, right? You were able to make more money off that if you were planning on doing that. But the foils were rare then, right? And so were the rares. The rares were rare, the mythics were difficult to get, and any of those things foil were even more difficult to get. Whereas nowadays, I feel like they are definitely almost... they're giving them away to people. And to be honest, I don't think that's a bad thing. I know that something as I and probably most of you enjoy, I'm sure at least every person who's played Magic the Gathering at least has a card that they're like, the art on that card is really cool. And that's why they have it, right? But I honestly want to talk about it because I collect the showcase cards that come out in these sets. Showcase cards are just alternate arts that it's the same thing. It's just like special art per the set kind of deal. So, I'll put up some examples. I'm sure if you guys have seen a video, there are things such as the comic book art kind of deal from Ikoria. You then also have the cool, like, I don't know, like multicolored art from Zendikar Rising. You have the awesome borders from Kaldheim, and several others, right, that are getting the showcase treatment, right? And I think it's nice because the showcase cards, some of them, not all of them, but some of them, are just as affordable as the main card. I mean, the regular normal version of the card is obviously going to be the cheapest. The normal non-foil version of the card is going to be the cheapest. And that at least gives people an opportunity that if they want to play that card in their deck, they have that option to buy it, right? Because it comes in a normal one, and most of people's, money to, like, bling out their decks goes to things like showcase cards or borderless cards or any of those, like the Secret Lair cards. I mean, we can even get onto the topic of Secret Lair in the same video. But that's kind of the deal with showcase cards. And I don't know, like, I don't personally, I see a lot of it being a problem because the rarity is not as high, right? You know, the cards won't gain in value because the rarity isn't high. But when these cards are out of print, and you also have to think about this stuff in the long run, right? When you're collecting cards, it's not, I'm going to build this collection and the second I complete it, I'm going to sell it on eBay. You don't do that, right? That's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. You don't just complete a collection and sell it on eBay. Unless it's like a Power 9 and you need the money right now. But I wouldn't even do that. Keep the collection well into 5+ years, right, of you owning it. And maybe even more, maybe 10 years, right? Because the way people look at these showcase cards could change throughout the years. Now, they're obviously not super limited prints, right? They're not crazy limited things, and you can't say that they're the rarest cards to get, because they're really not. You're able to get these in all the sets. But getting them is, you just buy all the singles, right? And then you can complete the collection. But some of the cards that are printed in these sets are still pretty great and will be great for a long time in many different formats, such as Vorinclex, right? Vorinclex Monstrous Raider has a showcase art. And the foil version of it, if I recall, probably wrong, but I'll put up the correct price, is roughing about $70, $80, roughly, for foil. And that's because Vorinclex is honestly a very good card. It's used in several different formats, and people like how the showcase card looks, so they'll pay that extra money for it, right? You also have cards such as Brazen Borrower, right? Brazen Borrower from Throne of Eldraine. That card, in its showcase art in foil, goes for $86 right now, I want to say. Something like that. And that's because the card is used in many different formats, and it is great art, right? If I've learned anything from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For like 6 years of my life, it's that alternate art cards are going to be worth money most of the time, because nobody just wants the regular version of the cards. They want the special, cool foil version of it in an art that they like, and then they go with that. So it's always kind of up in the air, and especially with things like Secret Lairs, right? So Secret Lairs, for those of you who don't know, Secret Lairs are a set of cards that come out every now and again. I think like once a month they come out with like some new bundle or some new thing for cards that are reprinted but in different art based on certain sets, or based on where they're from, or based on certain holidays, or based on certain things. Like, it's just they're all reprints of cards, but they have new art on them. So, for instance, recently they came out with, and I had pre-ordered, a set of the Phyrexian Praetors in their Phyrexian art. So, going back to Vorinclex Monstrous Raider in Kaldheim, the only time I think you can find this card is in the Collector's Edition, the Collector's Booster. The card comes in Phyrexian language. Like, the language of the card is in Phyrexian. You can't read it, unless, of course, for some reason you know Phyrexian, but that is the idea behind it. That's a special card that people had to hunt for, right? And it's like a one-of-a-kind card in just the Collector's Boosters, and that's how they tend to put the cards in there. But the special, super special art cards only go in the Collector's Boosters, which makes sense because those are for collectors. But back to the Praetor thing, the Secret Lair that I had gotten comes with all 5 of the original Phyrexian Praetors in their Phyrexian language. And that is alternate art that people might want to keep, whether or not for a collection or to use in their deck. Because people want the fancy looking cards in their deck. Another thing that comes through is the Party Hard Shred Harder Secret Lair. That Party Hard Shred Harder Secret Lair comes with a bunch of cards. It's really only 5 or 4, 5 I think. Usually it's roughly about 5 cards, anywhere from 3 to 5 cards. And you get these awesome art cards that just absolutely, they're stunning. They're stunning to look at. And so when you get those kind of cards, it ends up working out better, and you have cooler looking cards for your deck, and that's what you genuinely would want. So for collectors' purposes, Secret Lairs are also very great. Not that I'm like a shill for Secret Lairs, but essentially you're going to want to have Secret Lairs and pre-order them, because you cannot buy them from Wizards after they've been off pre-order. They're essentially on pre-order for a good long while. There's usually a foil and a non-foil version. And then you get those Secret Lairs, you get them to your house, and then you can either open them to keep them, in a sleeve or in a top loader or you can go get it graded or something like that. Get it slabbed, and then you'll have that card in its alternate art in its entirety, and you can do whatever you want with it, and it looks really cool, right? Not to mention the fact that you also get the very cool stained glass planeswalkers in the Secret Lairs as well. So getting the stained glass planeswalkers are pretty cool. That's a nice little, I guess it's a bonus, but only if you open it, right? If you open it up, then you get the stained glass planeswalker. Personally, every Secret Lair that I ever buy, I am going to keep sealed. And I'm keeping it sealed because the value of it sealed is so much higher than the value of it unsealed and opened. Because there's, Chris, what comes in there. So it's not like you're getting, a random pack or anything. You know what comes in that box, right? You know if it's foil or it's not foil. And you have a chance at a stained glass planeswalker that looks pretty cool too. Most of the time, from what I see, the Secret Lairs go up in price almost immediately when they're off of pre-order, because the only place you can get them now is through the secondary market. So that's another reason why I kind of like the alternate art idea of the Secret Lairs as well, is because those are such limited supply. I mean, think Strixhaven's going to be on Strixhaven's going to be on rotation, and it's going to be printed for a long while. You're going to have Adventures in the Forgotten Realms is going to be in print for a long while. So you're going to have those things available for a while for everybody to kind of get their showcase cards and their borderless cards and all that stuff too. But at the end of the day, those cards won't be in print anymore. And it's all just depending on how much is going to be brought in, right? How many people actually cracked these cards and kept them, or how many of them were just like, oh, this card only went for 5 cents, I'm going to throw it out, right? Or donate all my bulk to wherever. So the Secret Lairs are a great investment for those of you who are trying to get into Magic the Gathering. They're normally pretty cheap to get them to start. I think, if I recall correctly, it's only about, I'd say it's $30 for the non-foil versions and $40 for the foil versions. So pretty great way to kind of start. If you keep them sealed, you're almost guaranteed for them to go up. For instance, those Phyrexian Praetors I was talking about, that's already going on pre-sale, because now you can't buy it anymore. The pre-order is over. They're already going on pre-sale for $200. Last I checked on TCG Player for the foil version, which means that I spent $50, right? Because after taxes, it's somewhere around $50. I spent $50, and now I've made $150 if I sell it immediately. But if I sell this 10 years down the line, right, where everybody else has already cracked them and hasn't kept them sealed and so on and so forth, you get that benefit, I guess. The only downside to keeping the secret lair sealed is that you don't get to look at the cards. That's the same way with anything that I keep sealed, but mainly for the most part, and I hope I'm not derailing on a tangent, but it's kind of how I feel across like the whole thing with all the different arts and everything like that. But when you keep things sealed, you want to open it, right? That's what you want to do. You want to look at it. You want to do all that. But you can always just go ahead and look online. Just look at the cards. I don't have a problem doing it. Or you can buy two. You buy one to open and then one to keep sealed. That's normally how I go with it with a lot of my boxes that I buy. If I buy a box, I usually buy two of them. I didn't do that with the Phyrexian Praetors because I did not have the funds to do so at the time. But if you buy two of them, you can keep one open and then keep one sealed, and then you're at least still investing a little bit more into it, so you still have the singles to sell if you wanted to, or to use in your decks. So I think while it is more accessible to find alternate arts, secret lairs are very much so on the higher tier of alternate arts currently. So if you were to tier them, right, you'd have secret lairs, then you'd have the borderless cards, then you'd have the showcase and extended art cards, and then the regular cards. So, and there's like tons of other variants, but for the most part, that's what you're going to see in these packs from like this point forward, pretty much. So, honestly, the showcase cards are just great in the way that they design them, because normally the showcase cards are based around the set, like I had said before. So, for instance, the Innistrad Midnight Hunt set has a lot of very much so vines, and like it's got the moon on the corner or the sun in the corner, depending on what, you know, if it's day-bound or night-bound side kind of deal. And the same deal goes with like the Dungeons and Dragons set, right? With Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, the same stuff goes for that, where if you have a card that is multicolored, its background is gold, like it would be normally in a set. Or if it's it costs red mana, and only red mana, it's going to have a red background in it. And it also is just an alternate art that looks really neat in regards to its flavor, I guess, kind of deal. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of like I view showcase cards almost as like the poor man's collecting. Because obviously you could be collecting reserve list, right? I mean, that is really where, like, if you have the funds, you should be putting your stuff in the reserve list. But other than that, collect what you want, right? Collect what you want. Collect what you want. Because that's the most important thing, is it's what matters to you. And I don't honestly think showcase cards have ever been a waste of my money. I bought all the Throne of Eldraine showcase cards for a total of, I think, $80 back in the day. No, it was like $60 back in the day. I bought them all, and now they're $128 total for the entire collection in near mint. So it's only going to go up more than likely. But because I see that they reprint them in the list and everything like that too, but getting them isn't, you know, you'd have to buy the set boosters and get them in the list, so on and so forth. But I think it's always a great way to kind of get your feet wet in collecting for Magic the Gathering, because there's a lot of different showcase cards, and if you like the art for something, collect it, because it's, you know, it might not be worth anything right now, but who knows, right? You never know what the future holds, and keep it for 5 years and see what changes. Even if it goes up by, you know, $5, that's $5 in your pocket, right? So But that's kind of my whole rant on showcase cards. I always have enjoyed them since I saw them. I started my showcase collection, which isn't really a showcase collection, but started my collection with the Godzilla alternate art cards for Ikoria, and now I'm collecting the regular alternate art or the showcase cards for Ikoria, and I'm collecting every set that has a showcase card in it. So slowly but surely making my way through getting every showcase card in its foil version. And if I happen to come across non-foil versions, I tend to keep them too, just because they're great. But for the most part, they pretty much are the way to collect for somebody who is just starting out. And that's it. That's pretty much all I got to say. So I know there's a lot of people that there's some. Let me know what you guys think, I guess, in regards to the showcase cards. I know with all the different arts available to you and everything like that, it seems like they're kind of like making it so they're not rare. And I get that. But like I said, if I had learned anything from Yu-Gi-Oh, people want their decks to look really nice. And they want them to look super good and shiny, and they want them to be the coolest version of themselves according to the player, and they will pay that money for that. Whether it be now or 10 years from now, they will end up paying for that if they want it, especially if it's out of print, because these are going to be cards that are going to be worth something. And even if they're not worth a physical dollar amount, they're at least worth something to you. And that's enough, usually. So, but anyway, thanks guys so much for watching. Like I said, let me know what you think about showcase cards and what you think about border lists and cards and secret lairs and all that stuff. I'm curious to hear. There's just a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of people talking and saying no, a lot of people saying yes. And I think most of the people who say no because they just specifically want to put their money in the reserve list, which is also a very smart move. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. But just have fun, right? It's the name of the game, right? Just have fun. It's the whole thing. But anyway, like the video if you guys enjoyed this content, and subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, where I rant about something else that comes up in Magic the Gathering media news. All right, guys. Nerd out.